Hey everybody, just giving a little bit of an update on the Go-Devil. I just wanted to show you a part that was broken on this machine and what we've done about it. Right here you will see the fork tube. This is an integral part of this machine, and that it's really the piece that enables the front tire assembly to come on and off easily. And once we get this whole thing together, it'll be a little bit easier to show what I mean by that. In any event, this part is quite integral to that capability. It goes through the triple tree right here, and it enables the forks right there to come on and off with the tire attached, of course, quite easily by just actually screwing and unscrewing this using this knob, which I'll clean up later. That's essentially how this operates. So this stays attached in here, but it allows the forks to come on and off easily. That may be a little bit confusing, but bottom line, this part was broken. That was really broken, and as you can see, severed completely in two. And it's a relatively complex piece because you've got the threading on here. You also have a keyway that needs to be cut through those threads, plus the tolerances, the internal tolerances here and the external tolerances all need to be accurate to enable that what would we call it, the fork rod, to be able to go up and down through there when you want to put the wheel on or off. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Bottom line, there wasn't really a good way to fix this, and the reason being is if you just welded this, and actually it was a pretty hard to see in the video here, but pretty clean break. It would have lined up, potentially could have been welded, and then maybe the threads rethreaded, or there was some option for that. But the problem is that the tolerances are so tight on the inside here that any little bit of weld or anything else would have messed it up. Not only that, but as you can see, this is a very thin piece. In fact, I would say that this is a bit of an engineering flaw in this bike, and I suspect these broke over time anyways. Likely due to the fact of kids using these mini bikes and then, not sufficiently keeping it tight enough when they're using the bike, rattling around a bit in there, and that wear just breaking that thing right in two, which is what happened here. So bottom line, once again, Pacific Bending to the rescue. Look at this puppy. Pacific Bending, can't thank you guys enough. Andrew down there, amazing work. Made this part, replicating this in every way, including the keyway. And you can just tell this part, although the tolerances are exactly bang on, it's all going to fit perfectly, and it actually feels like a moderately heavier, or maybe it's just better steel. It's better made, so it's going to be much stronger going forward, and it all works and is going to fit. So now the effort is to actually put her back in the bike. So I've got I've got this upside down right now because this thing uses old school bearings, ball bearings. So yeah, ball bearings. One of the challenges was knowing what size bearings to use in there. So I just frankly wasn't too sure. So I bought one of these little kits, as you do these days, off of Amazon, with a whole pile of different sizes. Metric ones, of course. I got metric ones knowing this is a Japanese bike. And I just started randomly trying them one day to see which size of bearings would work. And I believe I have found it. So that is working really good. And so it's 4.5 millimeter bearings that I am using in there. So that is these guys right here, tiny, 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 tiny. And I made a little note for myself. Yeah, 4.5 mil ball bearings. So that's what seems to be functioning really well. Any larger, no good. Any smaller, no good. These seem to work really great. So what I'm going to do now, that's the underside bearing, and I mean obviously, as everybody knows, gravity wins, and these are ball bearings, so it's really hard to assemble this any other way. I don't really know what the proper way is to do this, not a clue, but I just thought, well, I'm going to stick her upside down. By putting the tube in here and then raising this up, I was able to just drop the ball bearings in carefully. And I'm going to do exactly the opposite on the underside here with that bearing cage there. Yeah, and then we're going to hopefully have this part of it back together, which again is the critical piece. The one thing I haven't done yet is put a little bit of grease in that, so that's what I'm going to do next. And so yeah, so I'll just pause the video and we'll... Hey guys, I'm back again. So just a little bit of a correction. I went and I'd mentioned previously I was using the 4.5 millimeter. And, you know, it says 4.5 millimeter on the box here, but you know what? These really need to be like 0.45 millimeter. I'm pretty darn sure. I mean, look at how small these things are. But anyways, I did have them in there, and I thought, you know what, before I put this thing together, maybe I should just try the 5 millimeter again, which of course I think is 0.5 millimeter, give them a try and see if that works. And you know what, they work better. So I'm actually going to go with those. It actually even looks pretty correct in there to me. So that is what we're going to use. We're going to put a little bit of grease in there, use the 0.5s, and see how all that works out. So yeah, so we'll just give that a try. So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually apply a little bit of wheel bearing grease, which I think is what I got, what I have. I'm not going to go out and get anything special. And just dab a little bit in there, because you know they would clearly need to have a little bit of grease in there. I'm not so sure exactly what they're supposed to use, but this is what we're going to use. So let's give that a shot. Okay, so I got the trusty applicator here, grease, and we're going to just see if we can just dab a little bit of that in there. Don't want to get too carried away. And then we'll wipe out whatever drips out of here. We've done a lot of work to keep this thing nice, so I don't want to get too carried away. But clearly, this thing needs some lubrication, so we're going to do that here and try to squish some of this stuff in here without making too much of a mess. Well, I'm probably getting too carried away already there, but I'm sure somebody can go and give me a lot more guidance on the right way to do this, because you know what, I don't have a clue. So please leave a comment and let me know what I'm doing right or wrong. That would be tremendous. As always, I'll read all the comments and I will reply to all of them. So, okay, I think that is probably more than good enough, I'm guessing. I put a little piece of trusty masking tape here just to hold the cage up, and we'll drop that into there. And I'll just seat all those bearings in there. Oh yeah, she dropped in. You can totally feel it. Feels nice, sounds nice, nice and flat. For those that are interested that might be doing one of these bikes themselves, again, it was a real challenge to know what the bearings were to use. I believe that I've got the right ones in there, and I am using, or right ball bearings I should say, and I am using what says on the package 5 millimeter. Doesn't really make sense because they're not 5 millimeters in size, that's for sure. So I'm going to say 0.5 millimeter, and there are exactly 20 of them in there, which sounds also right to me, and that is nice. That is nice. I'm sure I'm going to be getting some grease coming out of there, but that's okay. We want this thing to work, so that's good. Now obviously when it's on the bike, this is going to drop down. I've got it sitting on this table just to hold that up, but this is actually going to sit like that, and then we'll that's where the triple tree is going to go. So we're going to have, now the next bet is to put bearings on this side in the same way. So we're going to use the same number of bearings, same size of bearings, and we're going to do it on here next. So I'm going to secure this somehow or other from sliding down, because otherwise all of this is just going to fall apart, and that wouldn't be good. So that's going to be the end of this video. Hope everybody's doing well, and hey, we're getting a bit closer on this one, so thanks for watching. Okay, so similar to what we did for the bottom bearing when I had this turned over, we're now going to do the top bearings. So I have loaded in they call them 5 millimeter, I'm going to say 0.5 millimeter ball bearings in there. And what we're going to do now is load it up with some grease and then tighten her down. As you can see at the bottom here, to keep this whole assembly from just falling apart, I have it taped up there with a bit of masking tape. So again, no idea what the right process is here. I really don't have a clue, but we are going to again use our heavy duty axle grease or wheel bearing grease, whatever this is, and stick some in there and try to pack it into those bearings. Now again, I have no idea how much to use. Okay, so just finishing up putting the grease into the ball bearings here. So I think that's looking pretty good. And now we're just gonna tighten her down. That'll enable us to, remove our tape here at the bottom and see if this thing spins for us the way it ought to once it's tightened up. So that's going to be the plan here. A lot of thread here. Just about got her now. Take the tape off because now the bottom's not going to fall out of there. And yeah, I think that's going to be good. It feels good to me. So excellent. I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, so that's one part of the assembly job done. Now I'm sure again that there's probably some things I could do a little bit better here, but or any comments on this, please do let me know. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and hope everybody's having a tremendous day.